For this calibration, find a comfortable position and close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Muse is now listening to your brain signals. Relax and let your mind flow naturally. Accept whatever you experience from moment to moment.
Cody, are you cheating on your Muse again?
No.
I told you what would happen if I caught you doing this again.
Ready? Place your attention on your breath now.
Hey guys, Dr. Cody Rall with Tech for Psych. If you're watching this, you're probably wondering what the heck cheating on the Muse Headband is or how to do it. And we're definitely going to get to that. And I wanted to use it as a launch point to talk about using the Muse Headband in more nuanced and powerful ways to really enhance your meditation sessions. But if you haven't already, please hit subscribe to Tech for Psych. Your support really allows me to bring these technologies to you for your own self-improvement processes. And make sure you hit the bell so you get notifications when I upload new content. And if you're interested in doing one-on-one coaching with me, head to www.techforpsych.com/coaching to fill out an application and apply. So I've talked quite a bit on this channel about the calibration phase of the Muse Headband. And really what that's doing is setting a baseline of brain activity before you go into the meditation session. Now why that's important is because it needs a baseline of activity to take you deeper into the meditative state. Often you're in levels of high beta and it wants you to get in more ratios of alpha theta for that meditative state. That's how we correspond those electromagnetic brain waves to what you're actually feeling subjectively. Now the way the default mode that the device is set up is it actually tells you to kind of just sit there and do what you've been doing.
For this calibration, find a comfortable position and close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Muse is now listening to your brain signals. Relax and let your mind flow naturally. Accept whatever you experience from moment to moment.
And I think that's great out of the box because you don't want to complicate things too much when people are trying to get, used to the technology, used to meditating, used to using neural feedback in general. But there are more powerful and nuanced ways that you can use the calibration phase of the Muse Headband software to take you deeper and deeper into meditative states. Now the way to actually cheat on this Muse Headband software is simply to keep your eyes open during calibration because usually it tells you to keep your eyes closed. And the reason why that works so well is that when we have our eyes open, something naturally happens called alpha blocking. When we have our eyes open, there's naturally more beta, faster frequency brainwave activity going on. And so if you set that baseline with your eyes open with the higher levels of beta, when you actually close your eyes for the meditation, it thinks you're some kind of meditation guru because your alpha and theta levels go way up. So by keeping your eyes open and blocking the alpha frequencies during the calibration phase, when you actually close your eyes, it thinks that you're more deep into a meditative state. Now the point of this talk is not to say that, hey, why buy the Muse Headband because you can just cheat on it. The point of explaining that is illustrating how important the calibration process actually is. And what I've been developing is different ways of calibrating so that when you go into the meditative state, it actually brings you deeper and deeper into a subjective state of meditation. So to play around with this, you can do different things in the calibration. I would call easy mode keeping your eyes open during the calibration because when you close your eyes, like I said before, you're going to get a big spike in alpha and theta activity, making the device think that you're deep into a meditation. Now, the point of meditating with the Muse is not to get the good score at the end, right? If you keep your eyes open and then you meditate with your eyes closed, it's going to be a lot easier to get the neurofeedback, audio feedback, very serene. You're going to get a lot of birds. You're going to feel good about yourself because you got really good scores. But what is that doing really? It's not really challenging you. So a more moderately difficult level would be to keep your eyes closed during the calibration, but be visualizing different images because that naturally will lead to higher beta levels while you're calibrating, meaning that when you try to clear your mind during the meditation, it'll still be somewhat of a challenge, but you'll probably still get relatively good scores. The audio feedback will be nice and serene and you'll get a lot of birds. More difficult level of meditation would be to try to keep a clear mind during the calibration state so that when you actually are meditating, it really challenges you to get into a very deep state of meditation to get a good score. Now, what I've been doing with my clients and what I'm developing for myself is actually doing different focus points during the calibration phase and then changing those focus points. So this is where I'm really trying to merge modern neuroscience and traditional meditative techniques into a process that you can use with the Muse Headband to really enhance your meditative techniques. And I can tell you that I've been using these different, what I call focus points, to really get into some deep meditative states, using calibration, meditation, recalibration, meditation, and getting deeper and deeper into these really, really cool feeling states. And really that's my end goal, is to get people to feel these subjective states so that meditation becomes naturally addictive. And I have to tell you, after I've been meditating for about 5 years, I've been never before more enthused about using the Muse Headband, because it sets time limits for me. It really allows me to, like I said, to calibrate and recalibrate, and it allows me to ground myself between these different focus points. Now, where I don't want to scare people away is talking about the focus points, and these are traditionally what are called chakras. All right, people have known for thousands of years that if you get your attention in certain areas of the body, it actually opens up different feeling pathways. You feel the energy kind of shift. And what that is, I don't really know. I don't know if it's energy from outside. I don't know if it's just your focus points opening up the neurology in your body. But there's definitely an advantage to knowing these focus points to get yourself deeper in a meditative state, so that it becomes very, very enjoyable. And I think that what we're seeing from modern brain scans that have only been around for the last 5 or 10 years, especially in the field of functional MRI, where you're seeing these different connectome tracks, you're seeing different areas of the brain communicating to each other that don't normally communicate to each other. So people originally thought for meditation that you would see higher levels of activation in certain areas of the brain. And you do see that, but not to the degree that we thought it actually would occur. Actually, what you see is a more widespread activation and more connections between areas of the brain. People that are in very deep meditative states are having a lot of different areas of the brain talk to each other. And what I think is that the spreading out of this activation is reflected in these functional MRI studies, that if you focus on different activation points, you're changing the way that the brain's communicating to each other. We've seen in these functional connectivity studies that people with depression, people with anxiety, people with schizophrenia all have different activation maps of the brain. Different areas of the brain are turning on and communicating with each other. And people that are really good at meditation are really good at activating all these different areas of the brain to communicate to each other. We see this in the book Stealing Fire by Kotler. He talks about ecstasis and meditation and all these flow states that really get you in the moment and very effective, able to make quick second decisions and be eloquent and really effective in your day-to-day life. You're really able to activate all these different brain pathways. Carhart-Harris would call this entropy of brain states. There's low entropic brain states that often are seen in depression, where only a few circuits are turning on, and then on the other end of the spectrum, schizophrenia, where too many brain circuits are being turned on in high entropic states. So we want to be somewhere in the sweet spot, and I think meditation can really open you up to attention and awareness in a way that other methods can't. So in these functional connectivity studies, what you see is that the different brain activation patterns change from moment to moment. And I think that by directing these different focus points, you change the pattern of activation in the brain and allow different pathways to communicate to each other. So by focusing on different focus points and then meditating with the Muse to ground yourself, you can really get into some deep meditative states. And this is what I do with my clients on a regular basis. So for example, a more advanced way of using the Muse is that before you even calibrate, do a grounding exercise so that you're really in the moment. And then during calibration, focus on the brow point. This is a specific chakra that's been known for thousands of years. It really seems to open up the rest of the pathways so that after you've calibrated and you go into the meditative session, you can shift your attention. And what I found really effective is if you shift your attention to the sacral chakra, that it really has this sense of grounding. It really makes you feel like you're opened up and centered and just very connected to the earth. And there's different visualizations that you can do with this. But if you, again, calibrate with the brow chakra and then move to the sacral chakra during the Muse meditation, man, I can tell you, after I use that and then ground myself, I've gotten more birds and higher scores than I ever have before. And the important point is that it's not just the high scores at the end of the session. I feel incredible. And I've been using with clients, and they've really enjoyed it too. So those are examples of using the Muse Headband in more powerful and nuanced ways to enhance your meditation session. And I think that what I really see is that when I change attention points, you get bursts of beta and gamma activity, which makes the scenes go a little chaotic, because you're changing focus points consciously. But when you focus in on the new focus point, you can ground yourself and get that scene to become more serene and hear more birds, and that really opens everything up and allows you to feel very centered. So again, by using different focus points and using the Muse feedback to ground yourself in between changing your focus points, you can get really deep into sessions. And what you can do after a 10-minute session is recalibrate and go further into it and really enhance the process. And I think that there's so much to be explored with this program because of those different focus points, calibration, recalibration, and really just exploring things. So I know I rambled there a little bit, but I'm really excited about the topic, and I'm trying to figure out better ways to explain it. I'm going to have a video coming up very soon that talks about functional MRI studies and those different connectome maps that you see in different psychiatric disorders and self-improvement processes, so that you can better understand where I'm coming from on the neuroscience side of things. And then, of course, more videos exploring these meditative techniques with the Muse Headband. Don't forget about the Tech for Psych Facebook page. I'd appreciate if you guys would like that so I can get more exposure for the Facebook. And thanks so much for you guys' attention. I really appreciate it. This is Dr. Cody Rall with Tech for Psych. Talk to you again very soon.